who's as adamant about his or her position as I am about mine, whom you think is sharp. Seriously, we know that. And another thing, we heard him say that... Hey sports fans, welcome to edition number 66 of And Another Thing. Can you believe it? Go to LarryElder.com if you'd like to be an Eldorado. Fill out the form. You're going to get a free copy of Michael and Me. It's a feature-length documentary where I look at the Second Amendment, the history of the Second Amendment. And get this, I literally confront Michael Moore. You know the way he did Charlton Heston? And I asked Mr. Moore 3 times, how many Americans use firearms every year to defend themselves? In other words, how many Americans are alive because of firearms? We know how many Americans are dead because of them. How many Americans are alive because of them? Firearms have costs, and they also have benefits, you know. So now for edition number 66 of And Another Thing. Did you watch the Oscars? I thought Ellen DeGeneres did a wonderful job hosting the Oscars. Of course, I don't want to talk about the good things. I want to talk about the things that tick me off. One of the things I thought was fascinating was Matthew McConaughey's acceptance speech. He got an award for Best Actor for his work in Dallas Buyers Club. And he thanked God. And the room was quiet. And I think the room was quiet because these actors were going, who's this God person that McConaughey keeps thinking, and how can I get that agent to represent me? The other thing that was fascinating is I'm watching all these Hollywood people. And you know, in politics, about 80 to 90% of Hollywood's money goes to the Democratic Party. Now, stay with me here. One of the big things in this town, and I'm in LA, is what they call runaway productions. Runaway productions means, it's a term that was invented. I think they've probably hired some PR firm to come up with it because it's a brilliant term. Because it means that you're not seeking tax breaks because you're greedy. You're not seeking tax breaks because you want to line your pockets. You're not seeking tax breaks because you want to enhance your profit. You're seeking tax breaks because you want to stop runaway production. You want to stop these jobs from going, hey, come back, come back. Now, when other companies want tax breaks, what does the left call that? They call that crony capitalism. They call that the undue influence of special interests. But what their own industry wants tax breaks to stop runaway productions, that's just good government. It's called phony. One of the guys that you saw on Oscar night was Harvey Weinstein of the Weinstein Group. He was in the audience when Ellen went there with the pizza. He's one of the guys, portly guy with the beard, and he stood up and gave a tip. He's with the Weinstein Group. He was on Piers Morgan a little while back, and he said, I think people run around and they want legislation to pass so that they can stop the effects of the very damaging legislation that they've passed. Being a liberal means never having to say you're sorry. Beyond that, it means never having to acknowledge that you have anything to say you're sorry for. And now for your questions. Thank you, sir. Carl from Bridgeport, Connecticut. How come the left still embraces anti-Semitism, i.e. Occupy Wall Street activists blaming Jewish bankers and their hate towards Israel as a couple of examples? I would use as another example this BDS movement, this boycott, divest, sanction Israel for their alleged oppression of the Palestinians. It is an outrage. It is nothing more than Jew hatred. I had a professor from one of the universities on here in California not long ago. He's involved in this BDS movement. And I asked him why he isn't concerned about the abuse of women in the Muslim world. Why he isn't concerned about the persecution of Christians and Coptics in places like Egypt. And he goes, well, why would I? And I said, exactly, because you're a phony. You're only concerned about what's going on in Israel because you're an anti-Semite. He didn't like that. I hope you enjoyed this small excerpt. If you want to see the full video, got to be in El Dorado. Go to my website, LarryElder.com, log in, fill out the form. It'll cost you about $4.75 a month, or about the price of a mocha frappuccino latte at your favorite coffee house. As you can tell, I don't like coffee. I'm a tea drinker. See you next time.